I couldn't believe this rainbow showed up yesterday. Brad and I were walking in circles after Ellie passed away. I asked, please send us a sign that she's okay. I went outside and I saw the rain and I saw the sun. And I looked up and there was a rainbow. It was right after the doctor left. She left as colorful as she lived. I wanted to thank the doctor at Rising Stars. They do home care and home care, so they take care of animals in the home. He was so kind. What a beautiful person that is willing to help families have their animals cared for in a home, as sad as it is for so many. And even him, as a doctor, his dog at 9 years old passed away from the exact same cancer. This is an aggressive form of liver cancer. It also can be in the pancreas, and there's no signs. There's no signs of this cancer until it's too late. And really, it's very aggressive, so there's really nothing you can do. He said himself, he racked his brain like there was no signs that he had of his dog with the same. So if you've been following me, we returned from vacation and Ellie just kind of slowly stopped eating, and then she started being incontinent. She shed, like I've never seen a dog shed like her. She let go of all of her coat. Anyways, and every day it got worse and worse. As soon as we were at the emergency clinic and found out what was going on with her, she came home right away. Brad came home right away, and we spent the last 24 hours in a big slumber party sort of situation. All the beds were on the floor, and we all sat around, watched TV, and lots of cuddling. And Izzy was with her, and she was so good with Ellie. Izzy 100% knew what was going on. I know a lot of you will want to know, how's Izzy doing? Izzy's okay. She saw Ellie after she passed, and she seemed a little stressed about that. After Ellie was taken outside into the car, we let Izzy out because we didn't want her to be part of that. Is Ellie being removed from the house? Izzy ran outside and ran around, sniffing the air, kind of manically, like looking for her sister. She knows she's gone. Oh my gosh, this dog was such a character. And if I've always said, and if I can ever say that I've never seen a dog love as deep. She loved my husband so much. Oh, she loved all of us. She loved her sisters, everyone. And she was very protective of my husband. Every time he was sitting, she always laid at his feet. And this dog, Ellie, she loved to be hugged. She loved snuggles. She loved kisses. Like she could never have enough of it. The harder the hug, the more she loved it. She got lots of hugs. There she is in the skunk situation. The two dogs, Brad would take them to the park every day, and there was park skunks there, and the dogs would be sprayed every single time they saw the skunk. And they'd be sprayed one day, we'd get them cleaned up, and then the next day they'd be sprayed again. Like they just didn't learn. Watching the two of them together, it was amazing, the love they had, and it was such a weird love because Ellie just loved Izzy, where Izzy was Ellie's manager, so Izzy made sure that Ellie did everything right. And if Ellie didn't follow Izzy's rules, then Ellie was kind of in trouble. And she was smart. The both of them are super smart, and Ellie was really smart, but Ellie wore her emotions on her sleeve. Like you knew exactly how Ellie was feeling just by looking at her. Through her ears, the way she held her coat, her mouth. Like she wore her emotions. And it was Ellie who always got in trouble. Like, even if it was Izzy who did something, Ellie was the one like, Ellie, stop it. I used to say, can you just be normal for 5 minutes of your life? Because they were just crazy. Together, they were like a herd of buffalo. Everything was to the extreme. Like, when they went outside, they shot out like bullets. Of course, Izzy had to push Ellie out of the way to get first. They were so funny together when we brought them home for the first time. They were so scared. They never been really exposed to men at all. And Brad used to call them the meatheads. He didn't want dogs, but he said, well, you guys can have the dogs, but I'll just pay for the food and you guys are in charge of everything else. And look what happened. These two dogs became his dogs. They worshipped the ground he walked on, so he had no choice but to love them and own them. One of my favorite memories is like when they were puppies, they'd sleep in bed with Brad and I, and Ellie would, when Brad would wake up, Ellie would start barking at him, like, what are you doing here? And he would say to her, you meathead, I've been here all night. Because they didn't really like men. They loved Brad. They loved him, but they didn't like men. Anyways, they just grew more and more loving him. When people came to our house, especially men, she always gave them a little nip. She would bite their butts. She didn't really like people visiting. She loved the snow. Like when we had the big snows, she would sit out in the snow and just let it fall on her. See, she just loved it. I'd say, come on in, you guys. Your sister's getting cold, Ellie. And Ellie wouldn't listen. She'd just sit out there. Gosh, there's so much to talk about with her. She loved her treats, and she knew how to open the cabinet to get to the treats. Like, she'd open the cabinet and show us, hey, don't forget these treats. And she'd put her nose in there. If you sat on the sofa with her, she would just, like, move your hand, like, so aggressively, like, shove them, because she wanted you to pet her. And I'd be like, ow, Ellie, you're assaulting me. Like, she would paw me and push me to get her to pet her. She loved to be hugged and cuddled. She was such a funny dog. When Brad would get home from walks with them, I'd say, how were they? And he'd always say the same thing. Oh, Ellie. Ellie tried to bite a lady, or Ellie tried to get a dog, or Ellie did this, Ellie did that. Every walk was an adventure. It was always, how was Ellie? Colorful Ellie rode to heaven on a rainbow, and she wouldn't have had it any other way. It was just perfect for her.